Please make it make sense. Why do guys that I'm interested in end up not wanting to pursue me?
Because they are the same guys that everyone is interested in.
And then guys that I'm not interested in pursue me and pursue me hard and do not give up.
Because those are the guys that nobody is interested in.
Please make it make sense.
Okay. Human beings are born with a sense of fairness. We like to think that the universe is fair and everything evens out, but it's not and it doesn't. We think that things work a certain way, but it's actually just a feeling that we need to have. Otherwise, life would be a nightmare. We like to believe that there is someone out there for everyone, but in reality, it's only a few guys that are attractive to all the girls. The rest of these guys are practically invisible until they do something extra and then
The rest of the guys are not people in a girl's head. I always say this, women want the same man. A girl who's a 5 wants a guy who's a 8. And the problem is that the guy who's an 8 doesn't have to settle with a 6. And he doesn't have to settle at all because most girls want him. The guy who's a 9 and a 10. Girls don't see how guys who are 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2, 1s struggle. And this is a combination of factors from attraction, looks, money, status, right? A guy who's a 6 and down struggles with relationships. He struggles attracting women. He struggles. They don't see that. When they complain and say, oh, guys are dogs, they're talking about the top percent men who don't have to struggle, who don't have to commit, who don't have to be nice to get girls. They don't have to do all these things. They don't have to buy flowers.
right, and then you notice them. In other words, they have to make up for their lack of attractiveness by being extra nice. That means that all women dream of being with just a few exciting men, so there's not enough to go around. So
And I want to go back and show you something about this
if
graph.
we match by being
You see, this is the attraction meter, right? The bad boy traits. And then this is the security. That's the security column, right? When a guy lacks in attraction, the more a guy lacks in the things that make him attractive, he's not the right height. He's not charismatic. He doesn't have the looks, the style. He can't talk. He cannot talk his way into a girl's pants. He doesn't look that good. The more a guy lacks, he's overweight. He has to make it up in the security column. And these are the guys that end up being beta male providers. This is where a guy has to pay rent. He has to do things for a girl materialistically to get her attention. You see, whereas the guy who's a complete 10 has both. He has the security and the attraction. And a lot of guys tend to lean one way. A lot of guys are not balanced. If a guy is super attractive, he tends to have nothing. If a guy has a lot of security, he tends to be fat and ugly. You know?
extra nice. That means that all women dream of being with just a few exciting men, so there's not enough to go around. So if we match 1-to-1, that means that most women will never get what they're looking for. This used to work better because women kind of had to get married when they had less power, so most people would match 1-to-1. But now that you have your own money, we don't match 1-to-1 anymore. We threw all those rules out the window, and now everything is a mess. Because women are no longer marrying who they must, and instead, they are pursuing who they want, and it's all the same few guys. Let's say this is...
So at the end of the day, if you look at dating back in the day, number one, a woman who's very beautiful, or any woman in general, had to date guys from her own city, where she comes from, probably not even her own city, her own wood. Because what are the chances that she meets a guy who's a 10 in another city, in another wood? The chances were low. So people married 1-to-1 because of a lack of options. Now we have dating apps, we have the internet, we have feminism telling women that they deserve the best and they can be as promiscuous as they want to be. So the whole dating market is wide open now. So the guy who's a 5 cannot compete because remember, women control access to sex. So when a woman is young and beautiful, she has all the options because a guy who's a 10 is willing to fuck a girl who's a 5 to a 10. Guys don't really have a lot of requirements when it comes to sex, whereas girls have a lot of requirements when it comes to who they sleep with. It's got to be tall, it's got to have money, it's got to have this, and that just automatically disqualifies a lot of men.
is you. This is the guy that you're looking for, and he isn't interested in committing because he's got all the attention he can handle, and so does he. And here is the guy who's looking for you, and you're not interested in him, and neither is anyone else. Except maybe her, but then he doesn't want to commit to her either. To make matters worse, dating apps give people the illusion of more options than they really have. So when you say,
Please make it make sense.
that is your brain trying to believe that people naturally pair off with someone at their own level. But that's not how nature works.
And here's the thing. Women will use up their young years chasing these guys, these top echelon men, in terms of looks and attraction and status, right? And they will overlook the guy that's actually at a level who's willing to commit to her and be a long-term partner for her. And then when she's older and the beauty has faded and the illusion of I've got choices has faded, she doesn't get the same amount of likes. You know, your age starts with a 3 now. Then she wants to come and settle down. Now she's looking for a better male to settle down. She's far much more willing to, why would I reduce my standards? Why would I settle? Now she's willing to settle.
Nature makes all the women want these few men, and then these men want these women who are not interested because they want Prince Charming, although Prince Charming is busy. And then these girls way down here are pursuing these guys who don't want to be seen with them. People love to forget that we are nature, we are animals, and we have a lower biological nature. And nature doesn't say, I should pick someone appropriate for me. Nature says I should get the best I possibly can, which creates a market. This website on walrus reproduction says that one male is shared by 23 females. At certain points in our history, 17 women reproduced for every one man, and throughout all of history, only 40% of men reproduce compared to almost 90% of women. So this is not new. It's just what male mammals do when nothing stops them. And if you want to go back to everyone matching one by one, then you have to go back to the rules that made it happen. But you see,
They don't want those rules. Those rules where a man had to work hard and she had to be a virgin. They don't want those rules. They want to have fun in their 20s and have a guy who's a 10 accept her for her past. After doing all the things with all the guys, a random guy who's Prince Charming, who's good looking, who's got status, you just come and accept that. And that is just not the reality. This is why a lot of girls have to settle for a guy who's not so much dominant. Because the guy who's not very dominant and not so good looking and doesn't have enough status does have to settle. They have to settle. Even if they settle with a guy with money, he tends to be on the Bill Gates, Zuckerberg type guy who's not really attractive, but he has money, and then she's not sexually aroused by him. She has to go and have sex with the pool boy, the gardener, because the guy who has everything doesn't have to settle. He doesn't have to, because girls from virgins to very attractive women want him. He has the pick of the litter, and even if he does settle, he can only settle with 1 or 2 or 3. You know, and there's the thing about attraction, bro. There's nothing fair in this life. When a girl is beautiful, she's not playing fair. She can literally date 4 guys and have one guy who's attractive, one guy who's providing money, the guy who's older, other guy is a bouncer, gets free access to this. Do women play fair when they're attractive and young? No. They date who they want, they break up with who they want. They don't give a fuck. They leave text on blue, on unread. They don't care. Ego. Don't talk to me. When I'm in the gym, don't talk to me. So why would you as a guy play fair when you start making money? When you start looking good? Why would you play fair? You also want the best. And the thing about guys is guys want sex at the end of the day. So they end up just running through a lot of these girls. And girls cry and say, oh, guys should play fair. Are you playing fair? You don't play fair with the guys that you don't like. So why should a guy, when he's finally attractive, play fair? The dating market, we've thrown away all the rules. But then you want the rules to apply. No, I want a guy who's traditional when you don't bring no traditional value to the table. And guys are starting to see that that's a scam. I want to have fun as well.
Said you didn't like those. So the reason that people no longer pair up one by one is that sexual freedom makes society collapse. This guy wrote a book about it. And just look at him. He tried to warn you. Here, I know none of you are going to read this. The whole of human history does not contain a single instance of a group becoming civilized unless it has been absolutely monogamous, nor is there any example of a group retaining its culture after it has adopted less rigorous customs. So the reason the guys you like don't like you, and the other way around, is because that's what people do when you let them.
Facts. Facts. You've thrown out the rules. Feminism threw out the rules out the window. Women have no traditional standards to adhere to anymore. She can come without the ability to cook. She doesn't have to come, with the chastity. She doesn't have to come. She can go and have sex with anyone she wants. Sexual liberation. You don't have to cook. Go make your money, babe. So she doesn't come with any of the feminine traditional roles. Why should you come with any of the masculine traditional roles? But a guy understands that he has to come with the masculine traditional roles if he wants to be attractive, and he will use that as bait to have sex with as much girls as he can. That's just the fact. And feminism is what ruined it all. Most women used to get married in happy homes, have a child, grow old with their partners. Do you really think this generation we're going to see old couples, 90-year-old couples talking about we've been together for 70 years? You really think in this generation we're going to be seeing that? No. Because it's all about dog eats dog now. You've made the rules so tough. So to survive in the game, you have to literally be brutal as a guy, and even as a girl. If you want to be soft, the thing is, women will say, oh, but it's the same. Guys also want the beautiful women. Guys want the tens. But here's the thing about being a man. You cannot be delusional as a man. And if you are, reality will strike you in the face right there. Because if you're a guy and you're a 4, you're not making money, you're fat, you're not that attractive, and you are there thinking that, oh, I deserve a bad bitch. Reality is just going to strike you because no bad bitch is going to give you attention. The problem is that when you are a woman and you are delusional, 10s, 9s, 8 guys who are 7s, 8, 9, 10s are going to give you attention. They're going to have sex with you, but they're just not going to commit to you. So you live your whole life thinking that, oh, I deserve this guy who's a 10, but then the reality is that these guys will never commit to you. They'll just sleep with you. And then by the time you realize that, oh, maybe I should settle with the guy who's a 5, you're old. You don't command the same sexual market value that a girl who's 20 commands. You're almost 40 now. Your beauty is fading, and probably that guy doesn't even want you anymore, or he has already committed. You understand? So now you have to settle with the guy who's a 3 in attraction and probably works a job in IT, and he's a nerd. You have no sexual attraction to him. That's what the game is. The problem is that reality strikes women when their beauty fades, which takes a couple of years. Whereas when you are a guy and you're not attractive, you don't have money, you are fat, you're just not attractive in general, you're soft. The reality strikes you there and there. So you're gonna try to get in the gym, start making money. That motivates guys right there. Although it may take years to be attractive, but you know exactly what you need to do. And the other thing is that as a guy, you can be short, but if you have money and status and you're in good shape, you can get beautiful girls. As a guy, you might lack status, but if you have money and looks, you can play the game. Like, there are so many things that make a man attractive to women. Women look at many variables, whereas the number one thing that's going to make you play the game as a woman is beauty. And if you don't have it, or if you don't take care of it, it's going to be hard. That's just the truth of the game. I didn't create human beings. It is what it is. You can subscribe to the whole, oh no, if you get a good career as a woman, you're going to get a guy at your level. But the dating market doesn't speak so. Girls that are 10s are getting with the guys who have money. Not women who are ugly and have careers. Your beauty is your number one asset as a woman. So at the end of the day, the game is not fair. To my next video, I'm out.